Hey guys, we're here today in Valheim with what should be a complete guide to wolves. As always, I am prone to make mistakes and miss things from time to time, so if you come across something in this video that is incorrect or something I have missed about wolves, please make sure to include it in the comments so we can have as much information as possible all together. A couple things I want to address before we jump into the details of the video. First off, like a lot of things in the game, you must be within rendering distance of the wolves in order for them to tame or breed, which is approximately 150 meters. Secondly, wolves operate the same no matter what star they are, being 0, 1, or 2 star, in terms of food and production. So when you're going to tame a wolf or breed a wolf, whether it be 0, 1, or 2 star, all the food is going to operate the same between the quality of the wolves. Third is that all food operates the same. Wolves will eat raw meat, lox meat, raw fish, sausages, and necktails. And all of these foods bring the same benefit to wolves, being 10 minutes of taming time or 10 minutes of happiness in order to breed. So whatever you have access to the easiest is what you should use. And the last thing that I want to mention with these wolves is that I have read about quite a few bugs or glitches that people have experienced in terms of wolves, especially 2-star wolves, which I think people notice more often because of how valuable 2-star wolves are. We are not going to be touching on any of these bugs or glitches in this video because ideally the devs are going to get these fixed and adjusted, and this video will be more about how the wolves are intended to operate and act as opposed to having any anomalies in your game. Now that we have all that out of the way, we are going to jump into the details of this video, with the first part being the first thing you will need to do, which is to catch a wolf. This can be a very dangerous and difficult job depending on your setup. There are pretty much two options as I see it, and this is just a basic form of one of them, which is building a pen for the wolf. It is hard to get a pen like this set up most of the time because you have to be prepared in order to bring stuff to build something like this. And the spawns for 2-star and 1-star wolves can be somewhat sporadic, so you may not always be able to rely on this, but this is something that you would like to build if you can be prepared. And ideally, before bringing a wolf in here, you would already have some food set down to make things just a little bit easier. If you do have a pen prepared, you want to get the attention of a 2-star wolf, get the wolf to follow you inside of it, and then you want to jump out and close the door on him. The wolf will hit the walls, that's why we have reinforced stake walls, but once he calms down, and you are out of the area or stealthed, he will begin eating and taming. So you're going to crouch down, get yourself stealth, and he will relax and begin to eat and tame. You just need strong enough walls to sustain his anger, which with the basic door we did not, but he has not left yet. So you can close up that door with a stake wall, and you can see there with the yellow hearts that he is beginning to tame, and the pen worked out decently. Now, if you are prepared in a certain area to capture a wolf, the second option you can go with is just a pit. You want to make sure it's deep enough that they can't climb out the sides, and make sure the sides are flat enough that they're not rounded and are able to be climbed. Same thing, throw some food in there. Now, catching a wolf in a pit can be quite a bit harder. They can't break the walls at all, but you need to push them inside, which means ideally you need to block or parry them. And if you stun them with parrying, it'll knock them back into it. Or you can stun them and then just kind of hold block and push them in. Once they're in the pit, then you're going to stealth, and he will begin relaxing. Now, it is very likely that the first times you come across any 1 or 2-star wolves that you want to get, or even regular wolves, that you are unprepared to tame them. So the whole taming process will be much more sporadic than what I just showed you. For this reason, it's a good idea to bring along building materials with you, like basic wood. That way you can place down a workbench if you have a 2-star wolf on you, and then you are able to slowly begin trapping him with stake walls placed really sporadically. Now, if you're able to catch a wolf in a makeshift structure like this, it's important to get it food quickly so it doesn't break down the walls, or be prepared and have the wood to build extra walls on the outside. This is not a foolproof system and will lead to many deaths. The best approach is to be prepared and be hunting in a particular mountain biome. That way you have a setup ready in order to tame them in. The last option, if you are in a pinch, and probably the worst option, is to dig a hole on the spot. If the wolf has not spotted you, you can get somewhat deep. But if it starts coming at you, you are going to be in trouble. You can loop around, try to avoid the 2-star wolf without dying, and get the hole dug, and also without hitting him. Most of the time, unless you are incredibly agile and have a ton of stamina, this will end in your death. But you know what? When you need a 2-star wolf, you need a 2-star wolf. The good news with things like this is right before I died, I did get the hole just deep enough to keep him in. The wolf does not despawn until the daylight hits. So if you get this completed and done, if you make it back in the area in time or have a bed nearby, you can still get the taming process done. Through everything I've seen, it does seem like 2-star wolves that have spawned will despawn once daylight hits, and you will no longer be able to tame them. If you've begun the taming process before daylight hits, it will work and they will stay spawned. This does not seem to be a glitch to me. It does make sense from the standpoint that they don't want the world overflowing with 2-star wolves. And if RNG kicks in and there's a bunch of 2-star wolves spawning but not despawning, that you might have an easier time finding them. So be sure to get the process started at least in the 10 minutes of night before daylight hits in order to ensure it doesn't despawn. Like I said earlier, there are bugs on this topic and glitches, but we're not going to address all those, and hopefully they will get fixed and addressed soon. Another interesting thing to note is I did trap and track a lot of wolves through multiple mountain biomes, and if I was currently looking at a wolf when daylight hit, it did not despawn them, much like we were just talking about. If they were in the same mountain biome as me though, they were despawned. I could go back to ones I had trapped and put in pins even though they weren't tamed, and all of them had despawned. But wolves I had put in pins and trapped in mountain biomes that I was not near did not despawn. I don't have any concrete evidence that this is the case, that they will only despawn in the biome you are currently in, but it's something to look out for if you are hunting a 2-star wolf. Every time you go to a mountain biome and find a bunch of regular wolves, be sure to kill them if you can, because they're not going to despawn once daylight comes, and you want to make sure you're forcing the game to spawn new wolves in to give you a higher shot of finding a 2-star. Let me know your experience with this and figure out if I'm wrong or if this is in fact what is happening. There might be a way to generate more 2-star wolf spawns every day, or at least increase your chances of it. Once you have caught the wolf, it is now to the taming process. If you have seen my boar video, you can probably skip this entire section because it works the exact same. Every piece of food is the same in the game, and every piece of food will last 10 minutes. In that 10 minutes, you will tame the wolf 33%, which means you are getting 1% of taming every 18 seconds. This also means that it will take 3 food to get 100% taming. Although 3 food at 33% equals up to 99%, the game will tame it once it hits 99%. And also keep in mind that you can stack up all 3 food and you do not need to be there every 10 minutes. You can set your character to AFK if you have a safe enough area and structure and throw 3 food in, and the wolf will tame itself. Once you have 2 tamed wolves, we can move on to the breeding process. It's the same here for food, all of them act the same, and all of them will last 10 minutes. The food in terms of breeding will keep the wolf happy for 10 minutes. The wolf is required to be happy in order to breed. It does need to be in somewhat close proximity to another wolf, and they can't be spread out too far, which is much easier to maintain with wolves than it is boar, since you can make them follow you. And once they are happy, you will see a wolf do pink hearts around itself, and those hearts will need to be reciprocated by another wolf within about 10 to 15 seconds. 3 minutes after they've hearted each other, they will spawn a wolf cub. If you are breeding mismatched wolves, like a 1-star and a 2-star, then the cub has a 50-50 chance of coming out as a 1 or a 2-star, but will only have a shot of becoming one of the stars you have, so you cannot take 2 1-stars and get an RNG shot at a 2-star wolf. Now, an important thing to keep in mind is that there is a limit to how many wolves can be near each other at any given time before they will stop breeding. When I placed wolves between 0 and 4 meters apart in sets of 2, they produced 0 pups. Whenever I moved up to 6 to 8 meters apart, they were able to produce 1 pup, and then anything above 10 meters apart was producing 2 extra puppies. So it seems like the max around each other is roughly 4. Now, this is over a 10-minute period of food, so we're talking about quick production. There is a shot that even at 6 meters or at 8 meters, they will produce more pups than this if you leave them in there for a long time, say 30 minutes to an hour. But if we're looking at efficiency, you want to make sure they're 10 or more meters apart so you can maximize how fast they're producing new pups. Once you have gotten pups born, they will take 50 minutes in order to grow into full-grown wolves. So you can either have pups grow in a pen and then move the new pups out once they're grown and have them follow you out of the pen in order to put them to work, or you can set up multiple pens, and once you have 2 pups born, grab the adults and have them follow you out to a new pen, and then have them start breeding again over 10 meters away. This is all assuming that you don't just have your wolves kind of free roaming as it is, and that you are trying to produce as many as you can. An important note, whether you have them free roaming or in a pen, is their attack range. The wolves will become alert with the yellow alert icon when anything comes within 14 meters of them. The wolves went into alert whenever I had a boar pinned up near them that was wild, or an enemy like a gray dwarf. And if the wolves are pinned up, they will become alert within 14 meters, but they will not attack something until it gets within 2 meters of them, or if it's trying to attack them. And this is all while they're contained. So if you're trying to keep your wolves from attacking enemies or from getting too far outside of their designated area, be sure to create a secondary wall outside of your base or something to stop boars from walking up close to, so that your wolves don't break your own fences and walls trying to get to them. If you're okay with your wolves attacking whatever it is, then you can leave it open. And once they've alerted at that 14-meter range, they will attack and engage anything they have a direct line of sight to. You can see here that I had a pinned up boar and wolves, and once I broke the walls, the wolves took right off for them and began attack mode. Now, once your wolves have engaged in combat, it's important to know what their capabilities are. So the damage output for a 0-star wolf, I saw between roughly 53 and 69 damage points, giving them about a 16-point damage spread. And the 0-star wolf has 80 hit points. Once you move up to a 1-star wolf, their damage goes up to 79 to 102, which if you do some calculating in, is 50% damage increase. The 1-star wolf also has a 100% health increase and has 160 hit points. The 2-star wolf, when it comes to damage, has a 100% increase from the basic wolf and has a 107 to 139 damage range, and its hit points have a 200% increase, giving it 240 hit points, making 1 and 2-star wolves very much worth the trouble to acquire and gain because their damage and health are substantially more. When it comes to damage spread, wolves appear to work when they're tamed just like any other monster or ourselves, and I have an entire video on damage spread and cleave damage that you can check out if you're interested in seeing how the wolves' damage output will go. The last section of area I want to discuss with wolves is their roaming area. I've read a lot of different opinions and experiences with wolves in terms of their roaming. Some people saying that wolf cubs that grew up and were not told to follow or given a command at any point seem to have a larger roam radius, kind of akin to wild wolves. So I did a small test on this, and I marked out a wolf that I had told to stay, a wolf that I had just tamed, but had not given a command to, and then a wolf cub who had grown up, tamed already. I let them roam around for quite a while, and marked out the screens north, south, east, and west, with 20 meters in length of wood iron poles. It seems that the wolf that I told to stay did not leave around 10 meters of range. The wolf I had tamed but never given a command to did not seem to roam outside of 20 meters, but the wolf cub who had grown up and had never been interacted with seemed to have left the 20-meter range, and I had to run through the woods to go and find him, and he seemed to be what I'm guessing is around 60 meters away from the original location. This is also an area that I don't have guaranteed answers for or a way to prove any of my thoughts or theories, but maybe you'll be able to chime in with your own experience. It seems like wolf cubs who have grown up and not been given a command do have a larger roam radius. A wolf you've told to stay will stay within roughly the area you told him to, again in my experience about 10 meters. And a wolf that you have tamed but not told any commands has a larger range but nowhere near as much as the wolf cubs. If this is accurate and you're trying to clear an entire area of enemies or guard a large open courtyard, it's a good idea to have wolf cubs handle that job. Have them get born in an area and then let them grow up and leave them to their own devices. They will cover a much larger area, and they will roam and travel over a large landscape, which could be very beneficial in certain builds and setups, as long as you're not in the plains where everything's better than them. There you go, guys. That is all the information that I have come across on wolves. I believe I've covered nearly every topic that's at least important. If I have missed one, again, let me know down in the comments so that we can get a lot of the information down in one area. And share any tips that you might have for catching them and breeding them, in general, taking care of wolves. Hopefully this video had some information in it that was helpful to you and will help you get a wolf army up and running, or help you just catch that one special man's best friend that you need. Thanks for watching. I will see you next time.